Okay, I am sorry if any part of this video is blurry because my camera does not want to work. And I'm going to try to look at the camera and not the viewfinder. Okay, so I was originally due February 22nd, 2019. I went to get induced on Monday, February 25th, and I don't recommend getting induced. I'm just gonna say that right now. Going into the hospital, it was a pretty amazing room, and I had everything. I had 2 couches, I had an amazing bed, great nurses. Everything was pretty amazing. Like, it was. When something is so hard to say, and it's like you went through it, why is it so hard for you to say it? Like, you were there. That's exactly how telling this story is going. Like, it's very hard for me to say it right now. We had a amazing time in the beginning of me being induced. My contractions weren't hurting as bad as it may seem. I was about 3 centimeters and I was feeling it. Like, I was feeling it really bad, and they gave me some type of medicine that wasn't the epidural, and while that helped a little bit, the pain was there. The pain was there. I got my cervix checked one more time and I was at 4 centimeters, and that's when they started giving me Pitocin, which is supposed to make the contractions happen a lot faster. Yeah, it did, but I wasn't dilating. I got checked again and I was at 5. So I went to 1 to 3 to 4 to 5. I was at 5 centimeters and I needed the epidural. Like, when I tell you guys, do y'all hear him breathing? I will see later. When I tell you guys that epidural, I absolutely needed it, because the Pitocin was making me want to cry. And I had so many people in my room. I had my arms like cuddled to myself. I did not want people touching me. I was burning up. And during my pregnancy, I had hot flashes like crazy. So while I was sitting there on that bed, I wanted to get up so bad. But there was so many IVs and stuff in me. Like, in me. And in the IV, I just couldn't move. Like, they wouldn't let me move. And whew, it was so much. So I got to 5 centimeters and I got the epidural, which of course I did not have a plan going into labor. I wanted to go with the flow. If I had natural, I wouldn't care. If I had a C-section, I wouldn't care, as long as he came out of me and I wasn't pregnant no more. Like, pregnancy for me was amazing, but walking up and down the stairs while being pregnant, no, wasn't so amazing. Yeah, so I got to 5 centimeters, I got the epidural, and that's when things stopped. Monday night, I was stuck at 5 centimeters. I would not dilate. So while I am pushing that little button so my epidural can kick in a little bit more, the Pitocin seemed like it was kicking in more. So yeah, I was going through pain, and Tuesday morning, my child's father had to go to work, and when I tell you, he left super early so he can prepare for the day and he could go see his daughter. And I just remember it was 8 a.m. he left. I was like, of course nothing's gonna happen. At exactly 9 a.m. I had to use the bathroom, and when I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, something feels weird. Like, something feels really weird. And my water broke. I was yelling at my mom. She was outside the room. I was in the bathroom. I'm like, call the nurse, call the nurse, call the nurse. Oh my gosh, I was crying. I'm like, Mom, call the nurse. And while she was sitting there, she's like, what's going on? And I couldn't stop saying, call the nurse. So they come rushing in. And when I tell you, I'm sitting here, I'm crying because I don't know what's going on. Like, I knew your water broke. Like, when it breaks, it's like a splash and everything. No, it's more than just a little trickle. It's a lot. I don't know if it's different for each person. I assume so, because in other videos I've seen it when some girl had her water break in Target, it was a splash and they kept leaving. Me, it kept going. So the nurses is telling me, they're like, sit down, calm down, you're gonna get your blood pressure high. Like, they're talking to me and everything. And when I tell you, I am dramatic, but in that instance, I was literally living. I was just like, oh my Lord, like this is the real deal. Like, my water just broke. And they didn't have to break it for me. I was happy because I watched tons of videos about that. Yeah, so 9 a.m. things got cracking. I got my service checked again and I'm still at 5. His dad came back, and that's when tons of family showed up. While there was family there, my mother, his mother, my granny, my aunts, my cousins, my little baby cousins, my brother, everybody started showing up because things started kicking in. They're like, oh my gosh, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. We all should have just chilled out. We should have just waited. I should have just waited before telling anybody to come to the hospital. Because, no. Like, I'm glad they were there to comfort me, even though I didn't want to be touched. I was way too hot. I was low-key hallucinating. It was hot. So, we should have waited because I got to 8 centimeters. And they're like, can we, like, put the Pitocin up more? And I'm like, I guess so. If I want this to happen, this is what I need to do. So I'm getting more Pitocin. Mind you, I did not call the anesthesiast to, I did not call the anesthesiast to ep up the epidural. So I'm going through the pain. I'm going through the pain all Tuesday night. Then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I remember I was asleep. It felt like hours, but when I looked at my time, it was only 25 minutes. I felt like I was in a deep sleep, and I love those. They came in, they checked me, and they're like, his head is not angled right. And in my head, I'm like, how long did they know this? Were they just giving me the Pitocin to just give it to me? Like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, his head is not angled right. We can see if we can deliver him. Do you want to go another hour of kicking up the Pitocin, or do you want a C-section? And in the back of my head, like, I literally paused for a second, and my mom's talking. She's like, I knew you were gonna have a C-section, all this. And Ray, his dad, was sleeping and everything. He doesn't know nothing is going on. And I'm sitting there, I'm quiet, because I'm like, I knew there was a chance I was gonna have a C-section, because, well, my mother had many C-sections, his mother had many C-sections. And since we're all pretty small women, I just assumed that it was going to happen to me. Like, I really didn't care that I was going to have one. So, yeah. Like, a few minutes later, with the lady all paused, waiting for me to give an answer, and my mom talking, I'm just like, okay. So, next minute you know, the nurse leaves. 3 more come in. They're giving Ray scrubs, all this stuff, and then they're giving one to me. And I remember they were putting the hairnet over my head, because, man, my hair was exactly like this, except for I had like a little bun right here. And so they're putting all these hairnets over my hair. I was still wearing the gown, and they rushed me off to the C-section area. And I was losing oxygen. That was the worst part. As soon as I got in the room, I was like, okay, I know I'm about to do this. Like, okay, I'm getting pumped for it. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, okay, I can do this. When I tell you, I threw up. I felt so sick. I'm like, oh no, like, they're about to cut me open. They're literally about to cut me open. Whew. They numbed me from the I believe it was like the waist down, because I remember her asked, like, she was poking me and she's like, can you feel this? Can you feel this? And I didn't feel it till she got up to like my chest. And well, my boobs kind of low. Yeah, so my C-section went pretty quickly. At 4:50 a.m. Adonis Gabriel was born, my baby boy. And that's when things got crazy. Adonis was born with a heart murmur and an atrial septic defect, which is a small hole in his heart, which is heart problems. He had that, and he was not breathing completely when he got out. He did not scream when he came out. I did not even know he was alive. He was going through unnormal things when he went down to the NICU. He had to get a cardioversion procedure done to his heart, which evened out his heart murmur. They studied his heartbeat. That was pretty amazing. That went great. It's now Thursday, and they're just like, okay, we might have to keep him longer because he won't poop, he won't cry, he won't make a noise, he won't move, he's just content. Like, they needed him to show that he was active to be considered a normal baby and for us to take him home. Friday. Y'all, I was in there for Monday. Now it's Friday. He was amazing. He's just listening to me right now talk. He was amazing. When I tell you, they had me, oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving too fast. They had me upstairs pumping milk for him because he was eating a little bit. He wasn't eating the amount that they wanted him to. But I was pumping, and I remember Friday morning around 8 a.m., they called me down. They're like, get down here quick. He just started crying. Like, you should try to breastfeed, do skin to skin with him right now. And the nurse that I had, she was amazing. She was so quick. She did not care if I was asleep. She didn't care. None of that. She's like, get down here right now. You need to be with your baby. And he just started showing so many signs. So by Friday afternoon, they're just like, okay, he can go upstairs with you. And I'm like, okay, he can go upstairs with us? Okay. Like, my son, great. Okay. Saturday, March 2nd, we were discharged. Everything was great. We were doing great. And that's really it. They're not sure why he had the heart problem. We all believe it's because we put him through it. With all the medicine I was getting, and with them checking me so many times, and his head not being angled right, I think he just went through so much stress because I went through so much stress, and that's why he had his heart problems. Will I have more kids? Yes. That did scare me a little bit, but it won't always be like that, and I do want more kids in life. Do I want them now? No. No. He can have a younger brother or sister, or even twins for that matter, in a few more years. I'm about to be 21 this year, so it's like starting my life, and I'm starting my life with Adonis, my, still quiet little baby. He's doing pretty amazing now. We went to the heart doctor. They said the small hole in his heart is basically gone. So everything that he went through in the hospital, it's over with, and I'm just glad and blessed that we were watched over, people praying for us, and yeah, he's falling asleep in my arms. Like, I was blessed with the most easiest, quietest baby ever, but he poops, and he poops a lot. And yes, we are breastfeeding, and I'm giving him formula, and my 11-pound baby now, he's heavy. I did forget to mention that when he was born at 4:50 a.m. on February 27th. He was 8 pounds and 2 ounces and 21.5 inches long. So yeah, I had a pretty big baby. We're doing great now, and that's really it. I'm glad I was able to talk to you guys and tell you what happened. Hopefully this is not a long video, so bye. And I'm about to wake him up just to say bye to you guys. What is your shirt? Oh, your shirt says I'm kind of a big deal. He is knocked out. He's knocked out. Bye with my crusty lips.